2 months later, 3 months later, 4 months later, 5 months later, 6 months later, and they're still in the same situation. A year later, still in the same situation or worse. Instead of looking at what needs to be done right now and doing it, getting the job done. And that's the way I do it. That's the way I do it. I know it may not get me as many views as other people. It may not be the way that some people want it, but this is the way we're going to do it. We're going to be the man of the house. We're going to be the man of the house, and we're going to get the job done. What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. We got our question and answer session here. I know you like these. There was a question that someone had asked one of my reps on the phone, and I had overheard yesterday. And the person had said, "Well, what makes you different than dealing with other companies that are available for the choices that are out there?" And now there's a straight outright difference between the way that we repair credit is that we use an 8-point validation process, a two-phase settlement process. You've seen that for years, but there's another thing that is very different that I think really distinguishes us from the rest. And I will use this analogy. There are a lot of people out there that are talking about stuff that you can do regarding your credit, regarding if you have lawsuits coming at you from debt collectors or original creditors. They talk a good game, but what we've actually been in the game, that's what the difference is. Like you could have, when you have a basketball team, so to speak, you got people on the bench that never get in the game, but they do all of the talking. When I was at the last Milwaukee Bucks game against Philadelphia 76ers, there was a group of players, like 3 or 4 players that had never gotten the game, but they were doing all the talking to the fans that were, off to the side. They were doing all the talking, but they never got in the game. The way that we help people because we've been in the game. I personally went through it with my credit. I personally went through it with court. I've had to refer to my team of attorneys to help with those situations. If it gets to that point, we've been in the game. And so that's what really makes us different. Like there's a lot of talking going on out there, and people make it seem like it's a lot easier than it really is, but it is not. It takes work. Now, not to say that some things that you might encounter with your credit might not be easy to deal with, but I'm pretty sure that most of you that are watching this video have items on there on your credit report that is going to take a lot of work to deal with. And we're not talking about doing something illegal like what other people have you do. We're talking about the right way to do it. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some back and forth. And then especially dealing with the furnishers and the debt collectors who are putting the information on your credit reports. That's what we do. We go to talk to those people. That's what the difference. That's a major difference because that's who puts the information on your reports. What gives them, number one, the right to do it, and is the information that they're putting on there correct? And do they have a right to even come after you for the debt if it's a debt collector? But there's a specific way that you have to ask those questions, and there's certain information that they have to send back to you to prove it. And it gets to be sometimes more than just a debt validation. There's a little bit more to it than just that. So I'm going to get to some questions here, and one of the ones that caught my attention last night when I was doing some of my responses, that there was an individual that was just like they just said that they're going to just quit. And hopefully you're watching this video, and anyone else that is thinking about quitting because it just seems to be too much problems with their debt, too much problems with their credit. is that this stuff is going to follow you around, and you need to just, deal with it. There's no running from having bad credit. There's no running from having too much debt. What there is there's solutions. There's things that you have to do to work out your problems. And the first thing is just to understand totally what your problem, uh, how bad your problem is. Some of the times when we do the client intake and we do the review with people who want to become clients of the credit repair shop, is that once they see the mountain that they have to climb, a lot of people, or some people, not a lot, some people retreat. And what I mean by retreat is that they're like thinking that there's just no way that they're going to be able to, uh, get this, to get this job done for them if they decide to do it or if we do it. That like they just think that it's too much, and that's because they're thinking about it all at one time. That they're thinking about their entire situation and that it has to be solved in with some quick fix thing in 5 minutes or less or 30 days or less, and that if it can't be done, that it's not going to be done. And we always tell people that you gotta, first know what you're facing, and then there's a plan of action to be able to start accomplishing the goals of credit repair. I think one of the other things that gets people to kind of back off is that they know that some of the stuff is going to have to be settled, and they know that a lot of the stuff that they're dealing with is fresh. They know that it's going to be proven. They know that the accounts maybe have not been transferred to debt collectors, and that it's going to be a tough road ahead. And it is going to be a tough road ahead, but you have options. And I'm going to get into that in a second because we had a question from someone who actually has credit cards and they're like in that on that fence level of either letting them go or they want to try to save and see what options that they have to be able to not destroy their credit and be able to move forward. I spoke a little bit on this on the next topic here is uh, what I'm seeing American Express utilize as a tactic to increase uh, the expenses for people who want to fight against them to get a settlement on accounts that they have. Now, to later today, I'll get more clarification on this once we submit the documents to the debt collection company who's handling this account for American Express. I had the my contracting attorney put together the documents yesterday, and he submitted them over to me last night. What they're doing is they've said that they do not want to have a non-attorney registered with the state to be able to talk to them about a debt settlement or resolution on American Express account. Now, this is something that I have not ran into, but I believe that maybe because we've actually spoke with the crazy things that on Friday we spoke with the debt collection company. We went back and forth about these informational with the individual's account, and then I had submitted a document dispute, not about the debt itself. I submitted a dispute that the client believed that the debt was not a personal guarantee for the American Express cards, which he has a business that has closed, and he was saying that the accounts were not personally guaranteed. So, looking at that, uh, we submitted, first power of attorney. Uh, we spoke with a rep on Friday, and I got the email address for that rep. They assigned a rep to our company, and then we said that okay, we're going to submit documentation to you about resolving this account, but there's some questions that we wanted to have answered. And in part of that questionnaire was in that dispute was an official dispute that the account was not personally guaranteed. And right at that point, when we called back the next day, first we were not getting any answers, and then yesterday they said that they want to have an attorney on, that they were not going to speak to anyone unless there was an attorney of record place. Now, when they say the attorney of record, that does not mean that they got to speak to an attorney all the time about it, because if you think about it, you're not speaking to attorneys when you call a debt collection office. You're speaking to reps that are speaking on behalf of the debt collection attorneys there. They wouldn't, and couldn't be able to speak to everyone. Now, so we just have to have the attorney on record. And one of the biggest reasons why they'll try to do this is that they don't want the person to be able to save money. That's the reason why. Or it is a business account, and then they want to be able to have an attorney on record that's going to be speaking to them eventually about that account. That could potentially be it, but I'll have those answers later today. So, but hopefully moving forward, once we submit those documents this morning, that they will be able to speak to me about it, because this client wants to be able to move forward. But those questions need to be answered on that. Now, something specifically that you should know about that is from a business is that I have seen where in a court lawsuit, that if it is a business account, that they do want the individual to have an attorney. I saw that in California, which was something that I thought that every individual would have the right to represent themselves. But in California, they have a law that states that if it's a business lawsuit, that you do have to have an attorney represent the business. And I think that that's because the business is an entity, and that an individual is not going to be able to go to court on that. That might vary from state to state, but I know for sure in California that is, and that this might be something that might be happening with this specific case. Um, so, but to go back to why, if it's not because it's a business, one of the reasons why they would make an attorney have to be involved is because they want to raise the expense. Or if the individual, because I did say, can the individual call about the debt? And they said yes, individual can call about the debt, but then the individual could get trapped into answering questions that they're not wanting to answer at that time. Because if you listen to the recording, what are they saying? They're saying that anything that you say, this, is being recorded, and that it's an attempt to collect the debt. Anything that you say could be used in an attempt to collect that debt. So they're kind of trying to trap that individual with that. And once I started asking questions, like you know how I'm gonna be when I'm on the phone with them. I know it's being recorded. I get out my questions so that if anytime the attorney wants to be able to get those recordings, we can utilize that. So when they had said that attorney on record has to be placed, I said, okay, we accept that. Can the individual call on their own? Yes. Is this a business debt? The person would not answer that question. They would not answer that question. And then I said that we've spoken with your company and done settlements before. Because at first they were trying not to say that they would speak to our company about it. And then she did say, no, it's just a request from on this specific account, which raised my antenna to say that this potentially, because of the dispute that I had sent on Friday, that this account could be a business account, and that the individual does not have a personal guarantee, but they don't want to show their cards on that. All right, so now the next question, I had a YouTube subscriber stated, it just sent the email actually, said that they were watching the videos and they had some questions about the services. They currently owe $50K with 7 credit cards. Credit score is down to 630. due to utilization and one late payment. They said that they were disputing that late payment. So maybe there was an issue with that. They would, I would like to know if you offer an option that would not involve losing all of my cards. I'm currently paying the minimum payment on almost all of my cards, so I know I'm not going anywhere. That's what people start to feel when they're not doing it. So they want to know what are the options that are available. So here's the feeling. The person is paying credit card payments, paying the minimum payment on most, even if you pay more on some, it could feel like you're not getting anywhere. But if you're paying a little bit more on it, you are actually getting somewhere. It's just that it's going to take you time to get there, regardless if you pay the minimum or don't pay the minimum. And let me be clear on this. Let me be clear on this. The reason why a person would have the feeling that you're not getting anywhere, even if you're making the payments, the minimum payments, is because you are taking your paycheck or your income and you're just paying payments. You have no room, nothing left for yourself. Really, nothing left for yourself. That's the reason why. Because if you were to just stop spending money on other stuff and just paid your bills, that over time your debt would be gone. That debt would eventually disappear. Yes, it could take, depending on how much debt you have, it could take a period of time, but the debt would disappear. So you are getting somewhere. It's just that because you have no money due to the way that you've spent your money, you have no feeling that you're able to do anything for yourself. That's the reason why you have that feeling like you're not getting anywhere. So here are the solutions, and I've talked about this in other videos. You can watch my demonstration videos where I'm on the whiteboard showing you what to do. And this is what I had to do. So again, when people talk about these solutions, a lot of them have never been in the situation, or a lot of them has just filed bankruptcy and they, were able to wipe away the debt, but they've never went through a solution where they had to either save their credit or where they, like this individual said, I want to save some of my cards. So let's walk it step by step. If you want to save some of your cards, that means your mindset, your thinking is you're going to get rid of some of the cards. I want you to be aware that even if you decide to keep some of the cards and let some of the other cards go and you try to move to do settlements on those, you are going to take a major hit on your credit. And then the other cards, because you let a group of the cards go, even just one of those cards, it's going to affect the other cards because credit card companies have an open-ended contract. Revolving accounts have an open-ended contract. They can change the interest rate based off of what your financial situation is on what you're doing with the other cards. So your credit score right now, you said it was a 630. If you let's just, and you got 7 cards, let's just say that you let let's just say you let half of the cards go, or 3 of the cards go, you keep 4. The other 4 that you keep are going to jack your interest rate up. You're going to take a big hit with the cards that you let go on your credit reports. You're going to take a huge hit. You're talking about 630 now, you're going to be in the 500s. And then with the cards that you let go, you're going to be in a 6-month holding until those cards charge off. They're going to close in 30 to 60 days. They're going to close. And then within 180 days, they're going to charge off. And then depending on what type of cards they are, if they're Amex, Discover, Capital One, Bank of America, Barclays, those companies are going to come after you. They're going to hire an attorney just like this one that I just spoke about. They're going to hire an attorney to go after you. And if you don't pay, they're going to sue you. So that's the route that you're going to be running. And you could find yourself in a worse situation than you're in now. But there is another option, and that option is total destruction. But if you understand the total destruction, you're going to be able to understand the situation you put yourself into, and you're going to be able to work your way out of it and then raise your score. See, there is no uh, settling on debt and fixing your score at the same time. No, that is totally impossible. It is not going to happen. You cannot stop paying your credit cards and then listen to some commercial that say, oh, you're going to pay your debt for half of what you owe. To pay your debt for half of what you owe, you have to stop paying the debt, period. And then they have to go through a charge-off process, all of those cards. And that's going to take 180 days. And then during that 180 days, they're going to call and put pressure on you, so much pressure on you that you might have a nervous breakdown. And you're going to start wondering, did you make the right decision? And if you're, this is what happens with people. And I'm sorry that I'm kind of moving around, but I will piece this all together. But I know y'all feel me because people that are watching this video are going through this. When people stop paying their credit card payments and they start reaching out for solutions on what they can do, they run into companies, and the companies say, instead of paying, like I'll just use an example, $1,000 to them, pay us $500. We're going to let that build up and do settlements and hopefully pay your debt for less than half. They don't even tell you that they're going to charge you 25% on top of that. And then they don't even tell you that it can take 3 to 5 years to even get this accomplished. But the relief of the individual is that they don't have to pay $1,000. They're hoping that you will take that other $500 and start taking care of yourself better. But what do most people end up doing is they don't do that. So, and then they think that they're going to be repairing their credit at the same time. And then they don't know that these debt settlement companies do not protect you if those companies come to take you to court to sue you. That those debt settlement companies don't do that. That's why people are reaching out to us every day, because they're being sued by debt collectors or by original creditors. So the first one is, if you get rid of half of the cards, the other cards are going to jack up everything. Your payments are going to go up. And then you're going to go into a holding pattern for 6 months on those other cards. And then they're going to potentially sue you, or you'll have an option to settle. But that's going to be depending on what type of cards they are. The other option, you let everything go because you can't afford to pay. Your credit still gets destroyed. It's going to be a 6-month period of no payments, and then they're going to charge off. During that period of time, they're going to be blowing up your phone. They can call you more times because they're the original creditor. They can call you every day if they wanted to. And then they're going to do things to try to collect on that debt. They're going to probably hire a debt collection company, and then they will determine if they want to sue you for the debt or not sue you. Maybe they'll sell the debt to a debt collector, and then that debt collector might try to sue you for the debt. That's what's going to happen. Your option, if you want to save your credit, is to get with each of the companies and get payment deferments and start utilizing some of the money that you don't pay to all of those, your consumer debt, your credit card company, and any other consumer debt that you had that you can get deferments on, and pay down the debt. This is the way that you can save your credit. If you don't want to make it worse, you can do that. But then you're going to also have to look at your other spending habits. Because if you're spending your money the wrong way, no matter what solution you try to look at, you're going to find yourself right back into the same situation. So no matter what solution you take, there's still going to have to be an adjustment on your part on the way that you're spending your money, or you're just going to find yourself right back in the same situation, and you're just going to have bad credit and just be in a worse situation. So if you do the deferments, pay off as much as you can. Some of these companies will give you 3 to 6 months. If you give them a plan and say, I need every one of y'all companies, this is what I owe you, and you. Here is my plan. Here is my plan. Treat this like a business and say, this is my business plan. I owe all of these companies plus you. And if I can get everyone on this plan, I can pay down debt and we can keep the cards open. Because another thing is that these companies, they want to keep the cards. They want to keep you with the cards. Like even with this client that we were dealing with this American Express, is that American Express said, hey, you've been a client for so long and we understand business goes up and down. If you could just make these get caught up on this, we will open the cards back up because they want to get that money. They know that a business person will just keep struggling to make those payments. And they know even individuals will just struggle to make the payments because they want to have those cards. But you have to make a determination on your specific situation. Because if you wake up every day and you're just like, I'm sick of going to work, I'm sick of dealing with all this, I'm fighting with my spouse, kids are not listening to me because they're reacting off of your feelings of how you're treating yourself on a daily basis. The way you're treating yourself is that you go to work and you're basically working for the companies that you're paying money to. And when people come to you for solutions, you listen to them, but you know, if it doesn't seem like it's some type of easy, quick fix, some type of scam, 1099 is going to make your debts disappear, some type of scam, they didn't really give you a loan, even though you went out and bought stuff with the money that they gave you. Like listen to what people are saying on these videos. Oh, they didn't give you a loan, but you walked away with a vehicle, you walked away with a house. You're living in that house that they didn't give you a loan for. They didn't actually write a check for it. They just put credits and they went to some secret account. But you have the house. They didn't actually give you a loan for the car, but you have the car. You're driving in it every day. So what's happening with people is that people are I would say people are stuck. There's people used to get stuck because they didn't know where to turn to financially. Now people are getting stuck because people are making bullshit videos about how to help people get out of debt, repair their credit, and repair their credit and get out of debt, and to settle debt, and to deal with lawsuits because these people have never been in the game. And people are stuck, number one, with their situation, which this is what we've always had to go through. It's like, I just got to decide on what to do and find a solution. But then people are stuck because they're listening to this BS stuff that is being promoted on videos. And then you wake up, or they wake up 2 months later, 3 months later, 4 months later, 5 months later, 6 months later, and they're still in the same situation. A year later, still in the same situation or worse. Instead of looking at what needs to be done right now and doing it, getting the job done. And that's the way I do it. That's the way I do it. I know it may not get me as many views as other people. It may not be the way that some people want it, but this is the way we're going to do it. We're going to be the man of the house. We're going to be the man of the house, and we're going to get the job done. And we're going to be the one where our kids look up at us, our sons look up at us, our daughters look up at us, our wives look at us, and they say, you handle business. That's the way we're going to do it. That's the way we're going to do it. We're not going to do it no other way. So if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit report scores, go to the website your3scores.com. Grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports, and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, do something about it early. Don't wait. Grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations, cease and desist collection activities letter, and debt validation letter to go back and forth. They will do the job if you just put in that work. Those letters can do the job, and it can open up the door to your next step on what you need to do. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. Please like this video, please share, and subscribe to the channel.